Well, here we are. I hope we're here. Now, last Tuesday, I set up my little camera like this to do my morning reading, and I read for and babbled on and digressed for over a half an hour. And then I realized that my little camera, I hadn't been connected to the internet, I guess. So I am going to sort of pause here for a second to see if any of you are seeing this, and if so, put a like or leave me a little comment that says that that you see me. It looks like somebody's doing something. Okay. We are about halfway through, so I guess I'm going to continue reading a little Essays Toward Truth. Okay, and this is, I believe, the fifth installment. And well, William looks like he's commenting. Well, yeah, I see you. Okay. Well, if it happens to crap out on us, like it did last week, I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead on. Like the fifth installment, and the little chapter is called Beatitude. And so far, Crowley has been treating each of these sections as different kinds of trances. He calls them trances. And it sort of refers to the level of consciousness at different levels, and he's using as landmarks of these levels the Sephiroth of the Tree of Life, and and ultimately he's going to be talking about the highest of the trances, of the supernal triad, 3, 2, and 1. 3 being the master of the temple, 2 being the grade of Magus, and 1 being the grade of Ipsissimus, or the literally union with Godhead. So we're going to talk about the beatific vision. Now, I first heard the term beatific vision in a Fugs album. Now, it started out as the Village Fugs, but the Fugs were probably the most literate and the hippest of the early psychedelic Greenwich Village hipsters. My favorite album is It Crawled Into My Hand, Honest. But anyway, just in the background, a whole chunk of little Essays Toward Truth, one of the Fugs was reciting it just in the background with noise and drums and tooting horns and things like that, about the beatific vision and the universal joke, okay, which we read just a couple days ago. So that's where I first heard about this beatific vision, when I was a young 24-year-old hippie. But anyway, I remember reading something in Magic Without Tears that referred to one of the aethers, or the trances, or the aethers, or the 30 aethers that Crowley talks about, records, if you will, of his visions of the 30 aethers of the Enochian system. And I'm going to read you just a couple little snippets because it really is relative to today's thing. Unless your universe is perfect, and perfection includes the idea of balance, how can you come to Atma Darshana? Hindus may maintain that Atma Darshana, or at any rate Shiva Darshana, is the equivalent of crossing the abyss. Beware of such conclusions. And here's what the quote: "The trances are simply isolated experiences, sharply cut off from normal thought life. To cross the abyss is a permanent and fundamental revolution of the whole of one's being." And later on, let's see here. Later on in the vision itself, he gets to a place where he says, "Let the darkness cover me." He says that to the angel. "And behold, I am compassed about with blackness that hath no name. O thou who hast cast down the light into the earth, so must thou do forever. And the light of the sun shall not shine upon thee, and the moon shall not lend thee of her luster, and the stars shall be hidden, because thou art passed beyond these things, beyond the need of these things, beyond the desire of these things. Now he's talking about the vision. What I thought were shapes of rocks, rather felt than seen, now appear to be veiled masters, sitting absolutely still and silent. Nor can anyone be distinguished from the others. And the angel saith, Behold where thine angel hath led thee. Thou did ask fame, power, and pleasure, health and wealth and love and strength and length of days. Thou didst hold life with 8 tentacles like an octopus. Thou didst seek the 4 powers and the 7 delights and the 12 emancipations and the 22 privileges and the 49 manifestations. And lo, thou art become as one of these. Bowed are their backs, wherein resteth the universe. Veiled are their faces that have beheld the glory ineffable. These adepts seem like pyramids. Their hoods and robes are like pyramids. And the angel saith, Verily is the pyramid a temple of initiation. Verily also is it a tomb. Thinkest thou that there is life within the masters of the temple that sit hooded, encamped upon the sea? Verily, there is no life in them. Their sandals were the pure light, and they have taken them from their feet and cast them down through the abyss, for this aether is holy ground. Herein no forms appear, and the vision of God face to face that is transmuted in the anthenor called disillusion, or hammered into one of the forge of meditation, is in this place but a blasphemy and a mockery. And the beatific vision is no more, and the glory of the Most High is no more. There is no more knowledge. There is no more bliss. There is no more power. There is no more beauty. For this is the palace of understanding. For thou art one with the primeval things. Okay. Now, that sort of puts in perspective from the highest point of view the nature of these trances. And the point I want to drive home, and I think the point that this short little chapter brings home, is that the trances are episodic events. Even the trance, if you will, of knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. You may think that trances like this, levels that are achieved, oh, I'm there now, oh, I walk eternally in this new level of consciousness. Well, in a way you do. But that still doesn't mean that tomorrow you have to wake up and take a piss in the morning. That still doesn't mean. That moment is eternal. Those landmarks are eternal. They're timeless. Once the door is open, it remains open forever. But still, your life, with all the other little doors and all of the other little openings and all the little pains in the ass, still play in the background. Beatitude. There are two well-distinguished forms of the beatific vision. The higher pertains to Kether. Okay. Number 1. And is thus proper only to ipsissimus, though it may be enjoyed sporadically and, as it were by accident, by those of lower grades. See? It is of extremely rare occurrence, and has indeed never been described in any detail. It may even be said that it is doubtful whether any account of its true form has ever been given to the world. It need only be said in this place that the formula is love is the law, love under will, and that its nature is the perpetual sacrament of energy and action. I'm going to say that one more time. Its nature is the perpetual sacrament of energy in action. It is dependent upon the perfect mastery of the mysteries of sorrow and of change, and through identification with that of individuality. Let us then occupy ourselves with the lower form of the vision, so-called. It is not technically a vision at all. So, another one of those parentheticals. I'm going to skip that part, so-called, that is not technically a vision at all. Let us then occupy ourselves with the lower form of this vision, which pertains to Tifereth, and is thus the natural grace of the minor adept, the adeptus minor. It may be said that once that those who have attained to higher grades, especially those above the abyss, can hardly return to this vision, for it implies a certain innocence, a certain defect of understanding, which is not possible to a master of the temple. Again, the grades of the exempt and major adept, okay, 5 and 4. Let's see, my book's falling apart here. Are too energetic to admit of the balanced quietude of this state. Only in the center of the tree of life, only in the self-poised security of the solar axis, Tifereth is sun, can we expect to find the steady indifference to the event, which is the basis of the trance, and that autogeneous radiance which tinges it with the rose and gold. Okay, two of the colors of Tifereth. This trance differs notably from most others in a way which the above stated conditions would lead us to expect. It is psychologically a state as opposed to an action or an event. True, all trances of somatic intensity are in a sense timeless, but it may be said that most of them are marked by well-defined issues of a critical character. That is, the entry to each is quasi-spasmodic. That's sort of the way I astrally project the most. I don't do it intentionally. It's quasi-spasmodic. All of a sudden, under certain circumstances, I'm out of my body. Okay, but I digress. In this case, however, we find no such diagnostic. The trance may be continued for weeks or months, and the most ardent devotee of Tahuti, searching his magical record with the most conscientious acuteness, finds it impossible to indicate the onset of the vision. So in other words, you can comb through your diaries and you can't really pinpoint when this trance began. In fact, it may be surmised that the vision arises not from any given action, but rather from a subtle suspension of action. The conflict of events has ended happily in a state serenely perfect balance, in which, though energy continues to manifest, its issues have become without significance. We may compare the condition with the return of the health of a fever-stricken man. The alternation of pyrexia and subnormal temperatures have subdued. He forgets gradually to consult the thermometer, and at the accustomed intervals becomes absorbed instinctively in his regular pursuits. At the same time, he is no longer aware of the hot and cold spells, but half-consciously of the quiet glow of health. Similarly, in this vision, all conscious magical effort ceases. Although the practices are continued with all customary diligence, and the whole of the adept's impressions, internal as external, are suffused with the glow of beauty and delight. We're still talking about the Tifereth experience. The state is, in many respects, closely akin to that sought by the smoker of opium, but it is natural and requires no artificial regulation. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second to see if I'm still broadcasting. If could somebody click a like or a hello, I'm still here, there we go. Thank you very much. I'll continue. It will appear from the foregoing that nothing could be more absurd than to attempt to give instructions for the attainment of this state. To aspire to it, still worse, to seek to regain it after it is past, must appear the climax of bad logic. Nor, delectable and blessed as it is, no one can actually call it desirable. We need not assume that it is in any way deleterious, that it exhausts good karma, or that it wastes time and damps aspiration. It should be accepted, and when it occurs, with calm indifference, enjoyed to the full, and quitted without regret. Its occurrence is, in any case, clear evidence that the angel has reached a definite and rather exalted state of being, since he can live so many hours without being perturbed by the incidence of any motive force. And I'm going to repeat that again because I said angel instead of adept. So it should be accepted when it occurs with calm indifference, enjoyed to the full, and quitted without regret. Its occurrence is, in any case, clear evidence that the adept has reached a definite and rather exalted state of being, since he can live so many hours without being perturbed by the incidence of any motive force. It implies a marked degree of attainment of internal and external control. It proves the possibility of perfect repose in the midst of the greatest activity, and thus indicates the solution of the ultimate problem of philosophy, the proem, or the prologue, to the conquest of the three characteristics. It should encourage the adept in his aspiration by heartening him to confront the appalling postulate of the abyss. It should serve him as refreshment and nourishment. It should assure him of the possibility of perfection in the great work by demonstrating its existence as a crown to the less. Moreover, the enjoyment of delight and apprehension of beauty in all things, even on this plane, where analysis has not yet become acute, to actually fortify the heart and enkindle the imagination. Let therefore the postulant of the rosy cross pursue his path in solemn strength, aware that at the proper moment he may receive, unasking, the reward, and enjoy the revivifying flood of dulcet light, which has been called by the adepts the beatific vision. Well, I hope we got through that one today. It's raining terribly hard here, but the weather is wild anywhere. I'm not even going to complain. That's it, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow because it will be on laughter. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Oh, by the way, I had to drop Constance off because it's raining so hard, but she wanted to thank you for all of the birthday messages and wishes. And today is our son's birthday, but because he's in China and she's here, they both celebrated their birthday at the same moment. Anyway, you figure it out. He's in China. Okay. Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.